Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how you can attract your ideal customer. I know a few things about this. My whole business is based upon attracting the right type of clients. So I'm going to share with you my wisdom, but I'm also going to share with you some tips, tricks, and just ideas about what this type of thing means. Whoop. Forgot to mute something. Anyway, if you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help people and businesses thrive. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. If you're not able to make it live, make sure you leave a comment below and let me know if you have any, I need any help. Like, that's what I'm here for. So please leave comments because surprisingly enough, other people will help too. So it isn't just me out there. Let's get started, shall we? All right. So the very first thing that you need to do to attract your ideal customer or client, whatever name you use for it, first you have to identify. I know this is going to sound crazy. Woo. You have to identify what your perfect client is. If you don't identify it, like put it down on paper, identify it, not just put it in your head and think, well, I like these types of clients and I'm okay with those types of clients. No. You can't do that. You can't just hope for all the clients in the world. It isn't going to work, or customers. It isn't going to work. Every different people have different needs and wants. And if you're trying to attract everybody, you attract nobody. Okay? That's the problem. People, a lot of entrepreneurs, when they first get started out, they try to attract everyone. And it's a losing game. You can't possibly attract everyone in the world because there's so many limiting factors to who you can attract. Language, ethnicity, people are going to be attracted to you differently than if you are like, for instance, if you're trying to sell Indian food, people that don't like Indian food aren't going to be attracted to your restaurant no matter what you try to do, right? So why would you try to attract the people that have no interest whatsoever in Indian food to begin with? That doesn't mean that you couldn't eventually get to those types of people by giving them specials and trials and opportunities to try your food. But I'm saying, like, if your ideal customer likes Indian food, then that's where you go. Okay, that's how you market. That's how you attract people, by providing these things that we're going to talk about. But the first thing is you have to identify that. So you're first going to take a step and exclude the blatantly obvious, the ones that aren't going to buy from you no matter what you do. That's number one. Okay. So for instance, if you're trying to run a used car business, I don't know, you're not going to attract people that are looking for new cars. Simple, right? So you're going to look at different budgets, different things, and you're going to find ways to attract those types of people. Okay? It sounds simple, but it's not, because a lot of people get tripped up in the I want everything. Well, I'm here to tell you that as much as that sounds like fun and would be nice, you're not going to get everything. Right? Like, you can have everything you want, just not all at once, right? And you have to be able to be willing to stick with what you do want in order to get to more, right? Like, you can expand demographics as you get bigger and expand, right? You can't go after, especially when you're small, you can't go after every demographic possible. It's not realistic. And that's how a lot of people fail. Okay, so first, you're going to want to create unique content that attracts attention. Speak in the language of your customer. Speak to their needs, their wants, their feelings, their aspirations, what it is that they want out of the product that you're offering them. If it's food, they're hungry. When is the best time to market? Before someone's hungry, right? Like, why would, like, after breakfast, before lunch, if you're a lunch restaurant, if you're a dinner restaurant, after lunch, but before dinner, right? You don't market to somebody at dinner time because they've already made up their mind what they're in the mood for. Okay? So you're going to create this unique content that is special, okay, to you and what you have to offer and to your potential customer and what they're looking for, because they're naturally going to be looking for what you have. That's the whole point of this, is you want it to feel like a natural opportunity between you and your customer. Forcing relationships rarely work out, if ever, okay? Why put yourself in that position that you're trying to force a relationship to work between you and your customer? Don't. It's not worth the effort, and it's not worth the expense. You can get better customers for lower prices, lower marketing cost per acquisition, if you're focused on your ideal customer and their unique needs, okay? So the next thing is develop your unique selling proposition. Now that's a lot of fancy words for saying, what does your product or service have that is different than anybody else's, or at least anybody outside of your area, okay? Because maybe in a different city, somebody has the same thing. Maybe in a different state they do. So you're not really marketing towards those typically anyway. So you're gonna develop that unique selling proposition. What makes you different? Why should someone buy from you over, like, if you're talking about Domino's versus Pizza Hut, why do people buy Domino's over Pizza Hut or Papa John's? I'm not here to judge. Whatever you want to do is you. But I'm simply saying that if you're developing your unique selling proposition, one of my things is I only do flat rates, even litigation, which is almost unheard of in law, okay? It is a very unique position to be in, because when people come to me and they say, I want you to take on this case, and I'm like, well, I only do flat rates. And they ask me my hourly. I said, I only do flat rates. Whatever you pay me is what is going to happen. I'm not going to charge you extra for my time, because I don't think that's fair to my clients. Okay, that's the goal, is to deliver something that is unique, right? Like that flat fee for litigation, like I said, is almost unheard of. But see, here's the thing. Most attorneys are willing to charge you a low retainer rate and to get you in the door, and then they're going to continue to charge you these fees. Mine might be higher, but I'm sharing the risk with my client. That's the goal of flat fees for me, right? And to give you context, like contingency is when I take all the risk and you take none of it, but I take a higher percentage if I win. If there's flat rate, we share the risk more equitably, because you may not win, you may lose. There's all sorts of factors that go into that. That's flat rate. Then there's hourly, where all of the risk gets shifted to the consumer. Now, I disagree with that, because it encourages inefficiency. It encourages waste among attorneys. I hate that. I want to be as efficient and thorough as possible. Those two things are possible if you do things accordingly. And then I also do what is called hybrid contingency. I found that most people, depending on the case, need some skin in the game. They need some money to be had. Now, it depends. If it's an insurance personal injury case, then I do contingency. But my point is that, like, otherwise, I only do flat rate work, right? For breach of contract, partnerships, disputes, things of that nature. And it's very simple. That's my unique selling proposition. I do things differently than other attorneys. All right, next. Here's a crazy one, like, blow your mind crazy. You need to tell your clients or customers how to interact with you. If you don't do it, a confused mind always answers no. If someone's confused about something, they say no. It's too difficult. You need to make it as easy as possible for your customer to interact with you, whatever that is. Now, sometimes you're going to want to put up some barrier, right? Because not every customer, every client is going to be perfect for you. So you want to put in a filtering system in there involved, but by showing them how to engage with your business rather than just hoping for the best, right? Like having your phone number prominently on your website, having a contact form that you respond to. Oh my gosh, this drives me nuts. I think I spoke about this several weeks ago with a different person, that I submitted 2 contact forms for people in 2 different industries of 2 different situations, and they never got back to me. How annoying is that? Like, they didn't even get back to me to say, no, thank you. They didn't send me a canned response that said, hey, this is how to work with us. You're going to get a da-da-da-da-da. Nothing. Or that they weren't even interested. Guess they didn't need any business, did they? And that's really sad because it's like, okay, who doesn't want more business? I don't know. That's my thoughts are people always want to be bigger. So you're going to want to show people how to engage with your business. Tell them what's happening and then tell them again. Okay? People forget. People get busy. Things happen. Life changes. Don't be offended if someone doesn't get back to you. Be flexible and be willing to work with people as long as they're willing to work with you. If someone calls and doesn't want to leave information, thinks they're just going to get me on the phone immediately, I don't call them back. I'll send them an email. I'll send them opportunities. But I found that there needs to be a dual relationship here, right? It has to work together for people to be successful. So you've got to give, I've got to give, we've got to share information to grow both of our. I've got to be able to know what your problem is in order to solve it. If you're not willing to share the very most basic information with me, how can I solve your problem? All right. Next thing, people buy on emotion and justify with logic. One of my mentors shared that with me. So what you want to do is when you're interacting with people, you're going to need to trigger an emotional response, a feeling. How can you solve the feeling that someone's having? How can you make them feel something about your product? Obviously, you want to have them feel something good about your product, but the idea being is that your messaging needs to convey emotion. It can't just be, my product does this, my product solves this problem. No. Features tell, benefits sell. What something does is not nearly as important about the problem that it solves for the other party. So if you have we'll just use an iPhone, right? In today's world, an iPhone is almost like you have to have an iPhone. Like you cannot, or a smartphone, right? Like people live on those things. And you have a little supercomputer in your pocket. So what is that you're trying to convey to others if you're trying to sell them a phone? Communication. Okay, why is that important? Who cares? I don't care. Because now you can feel connected with your loved ones. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I want to buy a cell phone so that I can have a better relationship with my family. Or I can have a relationship with my family. Or I can provide for my family because it's work. See what I'm saying? All of these things, the feature of a text message, right? Okay, who cares? It's a text message. You communicate back and forth, cool. But what does it do for you? So you need to evoke that emotional response, something that helps people feel something about your product. And you get to decide what that is, product or service, right? Like for me, when I talk to people about my flat rates, I help them know that it's predictable. They're not going to receive any surprise bills from me. Not only they're not going to receive any surprise bills from me, but if I made an error in the cost or whatever, that's on me. So I'm sharing the risk with my clients rather than putting all the risk on them. Okay? So the next thing is you're going to want to add creative and sensory elements to your marketing, right? We're talking about an emotional response. People want to feel something, and so part of that is how do they see it? How do they hear it? How do they understand it? How do they touch it, right? Like if you can convey those types of things, not just the mental feeling of stuff, then what happens is your ideal client is going to be attracted to those creative and sensory elements in your marketing, right? Because they're going to be attracted to the way that you make them feel about your service or product, right? Like when we are looking, and the best way of saying this, when we're looking for someone to date, we're looking for certain attributes. And it usually starts with the visual, right? For guys, emotional for women. That's just, I'm not just telling you, like women have a better emotional connection than men do to begin with. So my point is that if you can connect with your ideal customer, both visually and emotionally, then you're going to connect with and do the right thing. People are going to be interested in what you have to offer them because of those connections, right? Not everybody's attracted to everybody, and not everybody likes everybody, and that's okay. And that's the goal of this, is to get people to like you and your business for a reason. So the next thing that you need to do is send out your marketing message. Like once you've combined all of these things and you've honed this message and you've brought these elements to it and you're ready to let it go, let it go. Put it out into the world. Let people see it. Let people feel it. Because while it is scary and intimidating to create this raw experience for yourself, the most successful businesses that I've seen are the ones that allow themselves to be vulnerable. I can't ever say that word. It just hits me. To be sensitive, okay? Now, I'm not saying you have to be sensitive in the sense that if you're a gym membership, you know, that you have to be touchy-feely with that. When I say sensitive, I'm talking about sensitive to the needs of your customers. So for instance, if someone's struggling with their gains in a gym situation, then discussing that in an email or in marketing materials using all of these techniques that we've talked about will allow the person that's receiving the message to feel like that you can solve their problem because you've been there, you've done that, you've struggled with these things. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not talking about touchy-feely necessarily, but maybe that is what it is. Maybe that's what you need because you're selling puppies. I mean, you know, if you're selling stuffies or plush toys and something, I don't know. I'm just use the opportunity to show your ideal customer what it means to you to help serve them, right? Solving their problem is very intimate, right? When people struggle with something and they're trying to solve a problem, they're feeling this angst and anxiety, and it might be a little and it might be a lot. So when you're talking about it, you conveying your sense of, I can solve this problem. Here's how I've solved this problem in the past for myself or others. Okay, so, but it has to be out there. You have to put yourself out there. If you do all of this work and then never share it with anybody, nobody's going to find it, right? The old adage, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Well, the answer is yes, but if nobody's there to hear it, then there's no sound, right? Like we think it makes a sound because it does, but the sound doesn't resonate with anyone. So you need to be there. You with your clients have to be that feeling that they get when you're around. How do you make them feel? But you have to send it out there. If you hide yourself because you're scared, which I get, it's very scary to put yourself out there. It's like these YouTube videos, like legit, straight up. Like I was so nervous when I started doing these YouTube videos that I would like have an anxiety attack before I would go on. And I would just, I had to do it. I just had to close my eyes and accept that I was going to be nervous and then do it. And now it's one of my favorite things to do is to come on and talk with you because I want to relay this information to you. Like when I talk to the camera, I'm talking to my parents. I'm talking to every business owner that I've ever worked with in the past that has struggled, okay? That's what makes this so amazing. And so I stopped stressing about it. I stopped being anxious about it. And now I'm excited for it. Now I get to help. You get to watch and listen and learn and hopefully progress. And so your desire to help has to be stronger than your fear of failure in order to be successful. As Sean Cannell, who I'm trying to get on the show, Sean Cannell, he's from Think Media, by the way. I highly recommend his show. I'm trying to get him on my podcast, and hopefully I can get him. So if anybody knows him that's part of this, please send him a shout out and say, be on Taylor's show. One of my favorite things he says is punch fear in the face and push record. It is such a beautiful phrase. I mean, like, it's very in your face, but the point is valid, right? Like, you need to punch fear in the face and do the thing that you're scared of most. Because if you're scared of it, it's gonna hurt you. It's gonna haunt you. If you're looking back on your life and you're thinking, what am I gonna regret not doing? That's what you need to do. You need to be scared. It's okay. It's okay to be scared about the thing that you have to do. But here's the thing. The only way that you're going to not be scared about it is by doing it. Because fear and faith can't exist at the same time. You can't be moving towards a goal and be scared all at the same time. Because fear only exists in your mind. All right? Well, that's all I got for today. If you've gotten value out of this video, don't forget to subscribe and like and hit that bell icon to be notified when we go live. We'll talk to you later. Have a great week. Bye.